Everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 345. Let's see who shows up. Something cool. Man, this damn Destor Thresh just keeps keeps showing up every time. This is like the third trial in a row we've had a choice for a pick one Thresh. But, not a really super exciting set of champions here. Not a huge fan of either one as far as build-arounds go. There's just not enough build around possibilities for like using Shen and barriers, so we tend to try and just pair him up with either like a challenger type pool or something like Lulu. But over here, Vi is pretty strong, but these two units paired with her are garbage, and so the strong way that we could go about picking which one of these to draft is just to see which one has been the longest we've actually tried to build around for. So we'll pull them up on the site. It's got to be tough because I know with these champions I tend to just draft them as supports. But let me see if we can't actually find one here real quick. Looks like searching for Vi is also going to bring up a bunch of victors. Oh man, it's probably been forever. Getting ourselves into page 2. Oh, Vi Draven, 293. We did it. I'll probably force myself just to draft Vi in this one as well. But let's check out Shen real quick. The same problem always happens with Shen. We never actually build around him. Oh man, we just haven't even drafted him in forever. There's no way the last Shen draft was like we had 2 in the 300s. We didn't go like 200 trials without drafting a Shen, and so that's bonkers that it looks like that. But hey, let's go for it. Let's take the man, the myth, the legend, the Shen, everyone's favorite ninja, and see what we can do. I guess I forgot to pull him up on the site here as well. So if you're not familiar with what we do on the site here, I do have the search feature to help find all the video guides, all the guides, whether or not it's basically any video I make makes its way into the guide section on the tier list, which is very common that people look at. I'm not updating this for 2.9. There were no changes, and so if you're expecting something new there, then temper your expectations because nothing will be happening. And then today we'll just be over on the Expedition Helper. So we'll scroll our way down to Shen. And yeah, as I kind of mentioned, like this isn't a deck. Like putting these like barrier cards, Greenglade Caretaker is like the only real payoff that isn't Shen. And so you really need to find something more to do with this. And the easy thing to do is you typically just build towards Fiora or some other like Demacia champion that has a bunch of challengers in it. And so attacking with Shen and giving your challenger barrier tends to be pretty good. But this whole ideal of like kind of sort of maybe going tall and putting big units on the board like Horns of the Dragon and then just giving them barriers and stuff, that doesn't quite pay off. I mean, there are some curves in here that play nicely, like if we're going to curve Scales of the Dragon into Shen or Tasty Feyfolk into Shen. These are like reasonable plays that you can make. But again, this isn't a deck. And so given like the check marks and the stars that I have here, this is basically intent to be like a Swole Squirrel style deck. And so you can protect your Swole Squirrel a few times, and then if things don't work with the Swole Squirrel, if you're not able to get multiple attacks in with it, you can kind of try and pivot to the River Shaper plan to get you some card advantage until either the Squirrel or the Hordes of the Dragon comes online. Again, this isn't like a real deck. This is, given the things that you're able to do with Shield Wall Shen, this is kind of the best that you can do. We typically, again, look at him as a support champion and not a build-around champion. But we'll see what plays out here. Maybe we'll just go for it anyways and just try to draft towards Zed. Or I'm sorry, draft towards Shen. And so, looking here at Pack 2, these are a bunch of champions that we do like to build around. Interesting little set here. We have the Azir, which he's not as strong. There has been some nerfage happening around the Azir pools, but as you're probably well aware of, the Azir pairing with Ionia to find the Blade Dances is pretty strong. With these other ones, any Zed deck is always just strong. I'm kind of interested in this Zed and considering taking it, just in the sense that if we want to build around the Swole Squirrels and the Shen kind of deck, then this might realistically work out to be something. And then, as we were talking before, getting these challengers together works with the Shen. And so I guess from like a hey, let's actually build around Shen because we've never done it, apparently haven't done it for like 150 trials standpoint, I think we want to come in and take the Jarvan. I feel like if we just take the Zed, we're just going to build to Zed, and if we take the Azir, we're just going to build to tokens. But I feel like if we take this Jarvan, we might be well positioned to actually pick up a bunch of Shens. And, we can hopefully get some synergies out of this as well, where Jarvan levels by having your allies strike and survive, and Shen's barriers help with that. And then Jarvan attacking, he has barrier. His flip making attacks gives him barrier. And so there are a lot of cards in here that say barrier. So I think we could probably make things work with this Jarvan. So let's get him pulled up as well. What are we taking a look for here? And so, yeah, with Jarvan, the big thing that we typically look for with him is the Penitent Squire plus Honored Lord combo. Honored Lord, another bro that just can pick up these barriers. And so, yeah, the more I read these cards and say barrier, the more I think that we can make this work. We even have things like Golden Aegis down here to try to make these things happen. And so we'll see how this goes. And so the big things I think we'll be looking for here are the Penitent Squire Honored Lord combo. This is just one of the super strong early game plays that you can be making, whether or not that's Squire on 1 and then Honored Lord on 3 or on 2 and on 4, or however you get that curve going to where you're able to get these challenger plus barrier attacks. And then otherwise, there are just some, meaty challengers in here, like the Screeching Dragon, which we could hopefully make some usage out of. Gallant Rider, pretty strong if you're able to give it challenger. I think the big thing that we'll run into here and the big issues that we'll have trouble trying to balance are either do we want to jump in on Shurima, where you get access to all of the vulnerable cards, and then if we don't jump into Shurima, how are we going to get challengers? And so ideally, Umbrella Maker is a pretty good way to be generating challengers, but that requires quite a few elites to actually activate this ability, and so we're going to have to kind of toe the line on these various strategies that we're trying to pull off. So happy enough to start with Jarvan and see what we can do here. So with this set, I'm pretty much interested in the War Chef's Strafing Strike. Blinding Assault is a challenger, but it's a pretty weak challenger. And then Scales of the Dragon is, fine, but I don't think we'll have any trouble finding 3-drops. It tends to be a pretty easy to fill section of the Demacia curve, and then having Tasty Feyfolks as well shouldn't be that tough to find. And then I don't want, I'm not opposed to taking a Fey Guide, but it's not really going to play into the themes that we're trying to pull off. So down here, War Chefs does, a very similar thing to what Shen does, and just boosting a challenger, and then we're picking up a removal spell while we're at it. And these single combat Strafing Strike style removal spells do play quite well with barriers, and so should be some good synergies coming from that as well. Okay, and then lots of options, and so we could okay, so yeah, awkward set. Learned Blade Keeper, not an elite, and this isn't a super strong set of cards. The Relentless Pursuit is something that would be kind of okay to have, but between being able to do Cataclysm into a scout or playing a Golden Aegis, we can find different ways to get rallies. I think we can let this one go. And then over here with the Shurima cards, it's kind of a stretch to want these. There's a handful of combos that we could have with Inspired Martial. Just basically any challenger is going to work pretty good. If we have things like Double Bird, that'll work pretty good. But I'm not really stoked about this now that it costs 6 mana and only has 5 health. Just lost a lot of raw power. And so I'm actually going to go with this Mage Seeker Investigator in the 4 Demacia. I kind of figure that, 4 Demacia is pretty horrible, but as far as the Investigator goes, it's going to, potentially give us a removal spell with the 4 Demacia. The Shen Flip is a 6-cost spell in Stand United. We might get stuck with the Stand United anyways. We tend to look for a back-to-back in these style of decks, and so I think we might be able to reasonably activate this Investigator. Okay, here's the big boy we're looking for in the Umbrella Maker. Gotta go ahead and jump in and take that one. This is the only downside, though, is if we wanted to jump into Shurima, we saw triple Demacia here, and so this, of course, does not help us find Shurima if we want. And if we want to jump in, this is the pack to do it. With the Diaz and the Chronomancer, it's pretty tough. We have the 1 Squire. How does our elite count look? I'm trying to determine if we need to move in to try and find some of those vulnerables, if we can just count on the Squires, because we should also be seeing a reasonable amount of Demacian Steel packs. And I think we probably just have to jump in and take these Shurima cards. We have the 1 Umbrella Maker a third of the way through the draft. We only have 1, 2 elites, and so all right, we'll see how it goes. That might mess up our challenger packs a bit, but mean, if it's going to start dropping exhausts and Larnt duelists on it, that's kind of exactly what we were looking for here. And so no complaints as far as that's concerned. Okay. Well, the vulnerables keep coming. If we were questioning whether or not we were going to find any vulnerables, then we most certainly are. There is the detain down here, though, and I think I'm okay to just continue taking these vulnerable cards. I mean, the detain is pretty strong, but we do have the one way to sort of generate it at the investigator, and now we're up to like four, I guess 3 vulnerables and a duelist, and so we should have pretty reasonable interactive capabilities here. Okay. The good things continue with the Cataclysm Screeching Dragon. I'm pretty sure I'd rather have Screeching Dragons than Horns of the Dragon, although this is a pretty powerful set of cards between the Horns and the Tasty Feyfolk. Like, that's pretty ideal top end, but I think the Screeching Dragon's feeling a little bit better here. Right, the good hits continue. The Fleet Feather Tracker is one of the more premier 1-drops with a barrier generator. Sounds pretty good. I wouldn't be opposed to taking Loyal Badger Bears here. This style of card plays excessively well with the vulnerable themes, but I think I want to actually snatch up the barrier. Ranger's Resolve is pretty low value as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so what else do we have here? We're just going to go with the Merciless Hunter and another Strafing Strike. I think this sounds pretty strong. Merciless Hunter is just an incredibly strong unit. Okay, the hits keep coming. Good deal. We got a Premier Combat Trick in the Sharp Sight with another War Chef. War Chefs should hopefully play pretty well. I do kind of imagine that if we're able to either, challenge our opponent's unit with a boosted thing from War Chefs, or if we're trying to challenge their 1-drop unit, we can actually try to shove the War Chefs into a positive combat. Okay, so interesting set here. Out of all the cards, Exhaust is the one that we'd be looking for, although Bloodthirsty Marauder is pretty weak. I'm not a huge fan of this card. I do love me a Legion Rearguard, not so much a Bloodthirsty Marauder. So if we kind of skip over him, our 3-drop slot is pretty full here. Like, that was why I wasn't wanting to take those Scales of the Dragon earlier. All of these aren't units, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 units at the 3-drop slot so far. Wouldn't be opposed to taking the Feyfolk, I guess, but I think out of these, like, Exhaust is just stronger than taking the Spirit's Refuge and a bad unit card, but I think I'm actually wanting to come over here and just take the Succession. Purify is an okay-ish combat trick, but then the Succession helps us fill in this bottom half of our curve, and then if we need to be beholding elites, then, gives us at least, can't behold it from our hand, but it does give us an onboard play that we can behold. Okay, so interesting set. We do, kind of want Captain Erika here. I guess she is an elite. Or our Umbrella Maker is a removal spell in our deck that doesn't really have removal. We just have the 2 Strafing Strikes. Then over here we do also have the expensive unit, the expensive card package to help us kind of generate that single detain if we want. And I don't think we're going to go this route. Let's just go ahead and take the Aegeus and the Captain Erika. I think those are going to play more to the themes that we're trying to pull off here. Oh, and then here, cool. We can just, since we passed on the expensive spells, it's now letting us trade out the Investigator for a Detain. I think that looks pretty good. Our spell count's a little bit out of whack here. This is going to take it up to 12, and I would rather this be around like 9 or 10. But, our units seem kind of strong enough to be able to hopefully overcome that. Right, alright. Got to go and turn something premium. Man, I'm going to have to click on all 3. I'm going to have to click on 3 factions this time. Sometimes life is pretty hard. Let's take a peek here. Demacia, Shurima, and Ionia. See if we have any of these units. Greenglade Caretaker. Surprised we didn't see any of you. I guess we didn't actually draft that much Ionia, but we're gonna take some more Shen, so we'll go and improve that way. I think we had a Kinku Lifeblade in our deck. I'm not gonna go and check. I'm just gonna assume that it was there. It'll make him feel better if he was, and then if he wasn't, then it's at some point in the future we're gonna be wowed by that Lifeblade that we have. This could be like disastrous and lead us to just opening up O2 because we premiumed off the wrong card, but I think we can be okay. I'm willing to risk it. Interesting set. The Irelia along with the Callista. But, I mean, this should be a reasonably strong enough start. We are coming out the gates kind of slow if we're just not going to have an Emperor's Diaz on 2, but got this big vulnerable package, and then the Hunter Shen is a pretty strong start. I think this is okay. Got an interactive package. The double Merciless Hunter along with an exhaust. Looks pretty strong. Okay. Can't do any blocking there. We maybe should have done this the other way. Because we're going to be sending Shen into one of these. And so we'd probably rather Shen take 0 damage. But if he plays another Mistwraith, then this will just turn out even. But if he plays another Mistwraith, we're not going to want to hook the Fading Icon. So we'll see how this goes. He does have a second Mistwraith. I think we want to be hitting the Wraith Collar here. Can have ways to return this to his hand or things like Mist's Call, but I think the scarier part of his board right now are the actual Mistwraiths. Any of these? Cataclysm is like kind of interesting, but I'm kind of thinking like, what if we play Unraveled Earth this turn, get the 2 Roiling Sands down, and then just play Vanguard First Blade next turn? That does potentially put us in a spot to where we can't hook anything, but I think we're going to clear out his board reasonably well enough even without that. Well, I mean, probably not. We should probably just Merciless Hunter as Neverglade Collector, right? Kind of want to, this does kind of help close out these games, and it does play well with the Golden Aegis. I think that's fine. Let's put the First Blade on top. We'll just plan on not playing it for a few turns, but I think it's going to work out well with the Aegis, and it seems a lot better than just a random draw. Hey, look, I was rechecking my deck. We do have the Kinku Lifeblade in here, so performed that perfectly. Look pretty strong leading into this. Gonna get a bunch of drains, that's for sure, but he can't interact with us very positively here, and all of our units kill all of his units, and so that tends to be a good thing. if you're not familiar with whether or not that's a good thing, it typically is. We want to do it like this, and get the rest of them. Okay. Not too bad. So I would assume he would put the prey in front of some. Well, I guess he can only block a 2 attack unit, and he wants to block a 4. Sure. Or maybe he has a Blighted Caretaker kind of play coming together. But very strong. Our life total was healthy enough to get around a lot of this. 10? Okay. I still think we want to be on this First Blade plus Golden Aegis plan, but we'll see. We'll see what he drops. If he plays a random 7 drop, we might be changing our tune.
Demacia shall prevail. You must know me, little one. You must.
Take our Shen to Flipsville here. Then we probably want to barrier the first blade and then just letting trade off on all this other stuff if he wants. Definitely want to be attacking with this thing next turn.
Our wills align. You see me, yes?
Go here. Okay. Then what's our open look like? Because we should have thought of that initially. Oh, he's got Scuttlegeist. Makes it a little worse. It's good though. I don't think we want to Roiling Sands. We're also probably just going to detain this turn. This is going to be our hook onto the Collector. Make the Scuttlegeist try to interact with other things. It's probably the unit that we'll just end up detaining, but... Okay. Ballista. We just let her flip. We have to kill this Collector. There's no two ways around this.
I find them unworthy.
We have to protect our first blade from Callista, so you're a bad attack now. Probably still have to come in with these though. Okay. Can't remember what his big unit's going to be from Callista. It might be that Wraith Caller, which is kind of problematic. We'll see. Yep. It's tough to find a good spot for this Unraveled Earth. Still got a lot of good hits left. We have a lot of good top end in our deck, so a lot of very good draws remaining in this piece here.
That's my resting face.
I'm gonna go ahead and do it. This is probably not going to be any good since he can. Oh man, we can just kill his Callista now. I don't think. Do we want to do it with the first blade? That's probably safe. We have the sharp sight if we need to. We don't want to sharp sight this guy, but I think it'll be okay. I think we want to keep board as opposed to just like sacrificing off the duelist. Interesting. Oh, it's an ephemeral copy. Okay. Dude's getting all the tokens going. Fortunate we can't protect our Shen now, but I guess it's better than just losing the game, so the play has that going for it. Alright, we just gotta get in now. Nothing else we can do. Purify showing up at turn 2 late. My man.
Look upon me.
Yep,
You see me, yes?
sure. Alright, feeling pretty not good about this one. If we can't be drawing any more of our top ends, this is going to be tough to do. We had like a lot of good draws we could hit over the past couple turns, and we've just missed. Kind of is what it is. Okay. So Jarvan. A little late to the party, but ugh. Nothing we can do about this. We're just dead now. Oh. Yeah, he's gonna get Scuttlegeist back. Brutal. Felt like we were doing stuff for so long, it just wasn't enough to overtake. That's kind of depressing. Alright, so how can we improve you here, Shen? Getting rid of the 4 Demacia for a Fleet Feather Tracker seems nice. I'm still not real big on having 4 Demacias, especially when we don't have the Mage Seeker combos with it. We can get rid of it. Cataclysm I'd be okay with. I just don't want to really like stack up on too many of these. And back to back we would like to have, but not for a succession. So I think this is okay. Right. Let's salvage this one. No goose eggs today. Deck's too good to be goose egging. It's not great. It's gonna be great once we get these 3 Shens in here. We're able to keep doing stuff. That was kind of like one of those classic games to where you really needed an overwhelm on the elite that was getting big. So I'd kind of like piece that together in the back of my head. It's like maybe this would be cool to add Noxus in here. It doesn't seem quite worth it. I'm gonna hang on to Diaz. I'm not really excited about this. I'm gonna keep 1 Strafing Strike, just as a means to handle a Teemo if he drops 1 early. But otherwise, I want to find some cheaper plays. It looks good. Get in there, bird. He's got him. So we'll see how this plays out. Like the first Teemo hit, not that scary, and we are, lining up this War Chef hook with a Fleet Feather Tracker into Teemo, and so we can hopefully just take him down without using a card. But if we need to use one, then Strafing Strike will be fine. Picking up the Succession, I don't intend on playing the Strafing Strike on turn 3. I want to get in this like War Chef's Fleet Feather Tracker Succession type of attack. Unless he plays something that's kind of going to really get in the way of our Teemo. That's tough for him, though. They don't have a lot of 3/3s. Alright, we should probably just go for it, though. I don't want to just give up the War Chefs for free. Peddler he would have done it. We want to go ahead and just take this down? Probably not. We can get some stuff going. Let's just pass. Like I can envision us on the next one having like a big hook with a Shen or something, and Merciless Hunter was looking pretty good. Ooh. Oh snap! You gotta say things like that. Okay, so probably need to Succession. He seems, well, he's probably never attacking these Puffcat Peddlers into Shen, right? But I still want to dissuade him from making this attack. Then we should still have pretty good attacks next turn. We can Challenger board Warchefs down a Puffcat Peddler. We can Merciless Hunter down a different one. Picked up the challenge number 1,000,000. Ooh. Look how premium our board is. God dang. God dang. The Debtless pair is probably quite afraid of what's happening here.
For the prince. Gonna find a gift for Renekton. Right, Arda?
Okay, we can get something pretty juicy going together here. So we're going to want this attack to look something like this. We're going to want to have a Warchef into you. Look like this. Or, better yet, I think I like this more. Just go ahead and take down all of his big boys. And then if he wants to trade into our 2/2s, that's okay. They're not going to have much value for the remainder of the game anyways. And then with this attack, we have the empty board against our Shen and Merciless Predator. So I think that's pretty good. Merciless Hunter. Okay. Alright, bringing all that Puffcap Thunder. Alright, yeah, not bad. One of the viewers told me I was right about that. Let's go ahead and add the duelist just to get another unit on board. One of the viewers told me I was right about those Teemo updates. That's bonkers. I mean, I get that like adding a visual update is probably completely independent of whatever happens in Expedition, but still, it's like they haven't. The patch notes for the past 3 patches of Expedition have been limited to a single line that said. New cards from the new set have been added to Expedition. That was on the set release. The past 2 patches haven't made any mention of Expedition. Zillion is going to be 6 weeks out from the release of the set, and we're sitting here seeing these visual updates. It's embarrassing. All right, rant over. I just saw those Puffcap numbers, and I had to put it out there. The salt just builds itself up every once in a while. It's not bad. I mean, I know this patch has gotten a lot of hate, in large part, the Twitter universe is just an abysmal cesspool to be in. But for a large part, when you see a lot of people such as myself and a lot of the streamers kind of just be like, it's like I'm not mad about it. I'm just kind of disappointed, you know. It's like it's just you're out here like investing a lot in this and really just hoping for the best and having a good time with the game and wanting it to be successful, and then things like that happen. And kind of a depressing end to the day. You know, you just want things to go well, and when they're not going well, it kind of sucks. Looks like the Debtless pair is paying the price. He's got looks like he's given up against this board. Yeah, I know I get a little salty on occasion about this, but it's just because we care. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. This is a super fun format. I just like to see it to continue to grow and get bigger and better. So I'm sure the devs know. Like that has to be so incredibly brutal to like put forth a product that like you're super proud of and happy about, and then just like go home to browse your old Twitter or your Reddit, and it's just like people shitting all over your life's work. Like that has to be like super painful to have to deal with. Everybody's gotten like ripped on by their boss before, but like to get ripped on and then go home and just see like the entirety of your corner of the internet just shitting all over your work has to be fucking abysmal. And so I try to be cool about it, you know. Keep my bitching to a minimum. But here, back to the action, we are sticking to the Shen. I feel like this is, if we're ever going to have a good home for Shen, then this deck is it. This isn't like a top-notch set of cards, but it's a Shen with a removal spell and a cycling barrier. And so I think this will be a reasonable way to go about it. I won't be opposed if, like, we get on and we don't have, like, too much top end here between the two dragons, Jarvan, Erika, and the Great Horn Companion. To a lesser degree, something like Vanguard First Blade, but if we don't like find something like Cytherea or a Genvivi or one of these big time epics or a big play here quickly, then I'll probably just pick up a second Jarvan. But we'll see how that plays out here. All right, off we go. Ready for action, doing the Shen things. Can't believe, man, it's been 150 trials. That's tough. That's a tough beat for Shen. Wonder if he's going to get reworked. They talk about all these big changes coming in the 211 patch or whatever it is. It seems a little early to me to be like reworking champions and stuff. I figured that would be something kind of wait until all the cards are out, or something you do a few years down the line. But this is what it is. Okay, so this was like an abysmal hand to turn into this is not that great hand, and so at least that's an improvement. But let's put a little kitty cat on this top-notch emoting. Playing Diana Aurelian Soul. I think I'm kind of willing to give this a turn. See if we can't like pop a Diana or something with this Challenger bird. But let's just pass for a little bit. We have, a hand that we need to buy some time with, and so I don't think just trading off on his Duskbringer is a real high quality play. I don't really want to get stuck. Like, I just see him getting like this quick attack challenge with Diana, and us having to purify into it. I really don't want to have to be doing that, but we'll see how this guy plays it out here. How efficient do we need to be with our mana? I'm kind of cool with just adding a War Chef. Like, if he does play Diana here, we can at least do this. Oh, you gotta target followers? Shit, what a shitty card. Okay, fine. We can deal with her next turn, but that didn't play out how I wanted. Okay, War Chefs, he's just not going to be that necessary here. He's just going to get into combat and get bombed eventually, so I'm okay to just let him go. Oh. I would have preferred this have gone the other way, so that we could have gotten the barrier onto the bird and then had a value attack with the Merciless Hunter, but it is what it is. That's the way this game wants to be. I guess at least this way, if he has a Pale Cascade, we should be reasonably safe with this Merciless Hunter, and this also gives him some incentive to... Oh man. We're going to do this, or we're just going to go all in? How bad is it if this fails? We send the... Or I guess this comes down to, like, are we willing to trade a Challenger bird for a Pale Cascade? And, like, how right do we need things to go for us to still win this game? And I don't think they have to go that right. I'm not quite ready to just throw everything away into a Pale Cascade. Right? If we're living in the land of perfection, we would much rather just like hook Diana with bird, hook 4/3 or the 5/3 with the hunter. It's just this reeks of a Pale Cascade.
That's right. Run!
Right. Typically, all we need against these decks is time.
I'll become who I was always meant to be.
We'll see how this plays out, but the top end in these decks is usually pretty abysmal. I mean, he does have Aurelian Soul, but I think we're okay. go for the 3 damage.
By the moon's crescent.
Diana. What would we worry about him taking? If he didn't take the 3 damage, it would be... Let's just let this happen. He's gonna play his, like, his slow card before combat. He did take 3 damage. Okay. So we can add Screeching Dragon now. That was gonna be pretty painful. If we added Screeching Dragon, he took 3 damage and then put the 3 damage on his dragon and let him get a Diana hit in. So this shuts down all of his attack except for the Crescent Guardian.
No time to rest.
Uh-oh. Life is hard. The big decisions are being made.
Descends.
Interesting. It's tapped out, so we can just manage this combat however we want.
I
Oh,
will
it's
be
gonna block
heard.
there anyways. Appreciate it, bro.
I cannot
Nope,
turn
maybe,
back.
nope, yes.
Face your heritage.
Alright. Oh my god. Stay connected, game. Okay. Gonna need to come in here and gain some health. Also, want to throw this Purify onto the Crescent Guardian and get a hook that way. Could be a little dangerous. It still feels like he's probably got a Pale Cascade. But maybe we just save the Purify for next turn and we try to stop him in combat with it. And so I still kind of think we can get a good Golden Aegis next turn. Could even like try to Aegis the Great Horn Companion and do things that way, but that might be a little too greedy. But we'll see. We got some options. Where does that get us at next turn? We've got 2, 4, 6. We'll have 7 plus 3. 7 plus 3 is 10, so that'll be 1 mana short. Bust. Churning right through them mathematics. Big decision, not the unit that you want. Aiming for the removal spell or something? I wonder if he was aiming for, like,
Daylight
Golden
floats the
Sisters.
hope and lights the way.
So he's got the 2 invokes plus 1 card in his hand, right? He's got his 4, 5, or 6 cost invoke, this invoke, and then 1 other card, I guess along with the Dusk Petal. So we were thinking that last card was a Pale Cascade. It may not be at this point, but then I don't like this attack as much as I did.
Calm mind and open heart greet the
Now
night.
that the Crescent Guardian can take down our dragon, kind of prefer if we'd hooked this 1-drop so we could still have 4 health and hit the Crescent with Purify.
Was that a glimmer of starlight I saw?
Still do this stuff though. Have a good single combat plus Purify this turn as well. So that draws Aurelian Soul, so he's gonna get him in 2 turns. Nothing we can do about that.
Change is coming.
Can also just Purify the Trickster if we want. I don't think I'm a huge fan of that. What if, though, say like we block here, single combat into the back, turns this into a 6-4, this combat happens, we become like a 7-2? Never worthwhile. I think this is fine. We can clear out his whole board except the Trickster. How much do we even care about this thing? Probably need to take this down.
Shining softly.
Get to do that one. Get to do this one. Do you want the Unraveled Earth now? Eureka. We can't play the silence onto Aurelion Sol. It's like, oh, we got our way to get him off the board. We need another target though. Oof. With Shen? What we're going for here? Or do we want the double attack out of Great Horn Companion? Probably just want this Shen. Huh. He is going to 100% going to Aurelion Solus next turn. Is kind of the problem here. Let's protect our dragon. He at least has to answer our 10 attack dragon if he wants to do stuff with Aurelion Sol.
Constellations are stars in the sky.
Enforced equilibrium.
See if he'll just put the block on Shen. This should be obvious that shenanigans are afoot, but you know, maybe he'll go for it. All for some obvious shenanigans. Here comes that Pale Cascade, am I right? Just for the bounce and not the trade? Nice. All right, we got our big dragon. He's ready to tango with Aurelion Sol. Let's do it, bro. Oh fuck, are you serious? Ugh. Ever. Henry the cat does not like to have fun. Get that shit out of here. Does this play 13? We're going to go about this. He's not playing Aurelion Sol now. So where are we at next turn? We got 6, 10, 15. So that's one short. I think it's still fine. We beat Aurelion Sol if that's his play next turn.
We must fight.
The one. Ugh. Problem. This is 2, 7, 7 plus 5. Yeah, we could do that.
Help! Somebody help!
Get these scout challenges as well. It's pretty cool. Alright. I feel okay-ish now that he's dropped Aurelion Sol. Very hard for him to actually do anything. The fuck is all this stuff? Why is it showing so many animations?
For the prince!
good as it gets. Gain some health out of this, but yeah, I was gonna say I think this is lethal most of the time.
Everything as it should be.
Okay. As it should be. What do we got here? I'm okay to get rid of the Diaz. This just doesn't fit in our deck. Captain Erika's a little slow. If we could trade Diaz for Gallant Rider, that would be fantastic, but just glad to get rid of this while we can. Erika, he's expensive, but he's a removal spell in a deck lacking them, so that's alright-ish. Okay, off we go. You can see some of the magic happening here. I still don't think, you know, Shen is all that spectacular, but it's weird. Like if I talk a lot about Yasuo being like a card or two away from being extremely good. I think Stunbird, which is in an expedition now but does exist as a card, might be enough to just push him over the top as far as like the Yasuo Targon style drafts go. The Yasuo Noxus drafts still need like a little bit more. It's like every time a card comes out, I try to think if it's enough to really push Yasuo over the edge. And Thorn of the Rose one wasn't enough as far as Noxus is concerned, but I kind of feel like the Stunbird might be enough as far as Targon's concerned. But now when we look at like Shen, he needs quite a bit of help as far as barriers are concerned. It's kind of the problem that's similar to what we see with like support units, where you have to be like really good on the attack or it's just not good at all. And whenever we look at these barrier cards, that's kind of how it feels. In that, you know, say our opponent wants to make a play on us and we put barrier on our unit before they attack. Then our opponent's like, oh, cool, I'm just not going to do anything, you know? And so it needs a bit of help. This hand, I was hoping to get a little bit more out of this Stunbird, but this is going to be too obvious if we Key Guardian a Stunbird and just play it, and then our opponent is like, oh, we're clearly just going to come out here and hook something. And so I think we want to try and get something going with Lauren Duelist here. Should be able to interact pretty favorably with anything that he's doing. Well, this isn't exciting, but it should be enough to at least keep sacrifice plays off of his playbook for the next turn. If he wants to Blighted Caretaker next turn, he's going to have another unit to add to the board. Not bad, Warden's Prey. Because I feel like he really didn't have a play here. Ugh. Sure. Let's keep passing. That's not an intimidating attack. It feels like he probably wants to play a Callista if he's gonna be dropping the Unleashed Spirits on the board. Okay. All right. Too bad we can't get our Jarvan attack in next turn. Let's see if we can't find a cheaper unit. Or Chefs is perfect. We'll wait till next turn to play the bird so that hangs on to the Challenger. See if we can't get something going. Oh god, almost I said that and then just almost threw it down. Do you think about that? You can challenge it with the barrier, just as a means to keep it out of combat. Or I guess we could just spend a sharp sight on it as well, if we're willing to give up the... Right, and then we lose one of our other units to single combat. That's not that bad at this point. Wanted to get this this Golden Aegis Jarvan attack this turn. We don't have the mana for it. Keeper, not bad. We're just gonna take this hit. Nothing we can do about that.
Everyone's a garden.
It's kind of a problem. Okay. What? Somebody got click happy on the buttons there. Alright, this isn't a particularly juicy Jarvan board, but that is what it is. So he didn't put forth blocks. Think any of this really matters? Flip our Jarvan is the big thing I'm trying to contemplate on this one. Right, let's have survived 4 strikes from enemy blockers, and we just play Strafing Strike or single combat. We should probably play the cheaper one. The mana won't matter here shortly, and so save it up while we can. Oh, come on. Oh, Black Spear. Okay. It's like F. His board isn't that strong, but he's certainly ahead, and our hand does not play well. This is not a very good catch-up hand.
These are dangerous lands. Smell that? A fight's a cooking.
We still got some decent top end in here. We can hopefully make something happen. I don't think I'm quite willing to Captain Erika this board. I kind of feel like he's gonna play something big here, and we'll at least get something that way. Like just attacking Erika into these 1/1s, it's gonna take him forever to deal any damage. Okay. Captain Erika Part 2. Alright, don't mind if I do.
I will tend this garden.
Many hands, Maokai.
I cannot recover all that is lost, but I will try.
Just want to start attacking here. Gotta get damage in at some point, right? Keep looking at these and thinking that they have Fury. That's not the way the game works.
No unseen. Take back what is ours. You are safe in our hands.
We can still block it. I wasn't sure if you're able to do that play.
I will not be beaten.
All right. Got some advantage now, it feels. Ooh, buddy. Right? Comeback City right there. Sure. See the toss, there's no treasures in there. Okay, perfect. Oh, I guess we technically don't need to level up the Screeching Dragon. That's probably where we should do it anyways, though. If we want to get like a value hook next turn or something, we're gonna want the dragon to be as big as he can. Don't think we need to be out here trying to boost our captains. All right. Well, we turned a corner in this one. This is this board's legit. Okay. You got it.
At your signal.
There it is. Nice. So let's see. Yeah, I'm not opposed to picking up an additional Jarvan. Our top end, he did pick up the second Captain Eureka, but like he's not super good at getting attacks in is kind of the problem with him. You usually get like one, and then he just has to like sit there and not let the opponent get combats on him. But we're getting a Brightsteel formation. If we're talking about needing big cards, then Shen just totally delivered, and so nice little pickup there. It's a battle. Teemo Azir. The constructed menace Teemo Azir, am I right? Let's see. We can keep something like that. We're on the odd attack, so I don't even think Shen's going to be that great here. We'd probably rather cycle him and look for something a little bit cheaper. Got a combat trick out of it. It's a second answer to Teemo. Doubt he's doing like a full Teemo build, unless this is one of these things where like he starts Azir Victor and has a bunch of random Puff Cap Peddlers because that's what Victor has, and then just decided to switch into Teemo later. See that?
The desert by my side. Smell that? A fight's a cooking. The Emperor commands. The land
Snap.
obeys.
It's a token attacks Azir, isn't it? Okay.
Delicious challenge.
Sure. Probably should have just blocked with the Fleet Feather Tracker anyways, but
We love it when they run.
I am superior life form.
yeah, it's a little unfortunate. I was expecting to have our War Chefs. That was kind of awkward beam. I mean, I'm happy that he traded the beam for that. Just seems like a little more aggression than I was expecting. The old Diaz. Okay. Hey, may warrant an attack from him.
Desert by my side.
No, he's definitely coming in. We're going to have to sharp sight into this, but
Azir's command.
getting him worn out of cards at least. That's kind of a perk.
Quit struggling.
What are we down to? 9? 10? Okay. Now we're down to 9. We'll get a... Maybe he'll pay the tax next turn and take us to 8. Be worse.
Can you improve perfection?
We'll get our licks in.
Our blocking situation's looking a lot better now, so as long as we don't get burnt out, I think we should be okay. Doesn't seem like he's got Teemo, but he doesn't really seem to be on the puff cap plan, so hopefully he can't do too much face damage to us.
The world's in a grain of sand.
Okay.
Our proudest days remain ahead.
Doing this, I'm trying to consider if I want to purify the Sandcrafter so that he doesn't get the Sand Soldiers. I think we do. So he's only going to have like the one Sand Soldier attack this turn. Good, and prevent all that damage. Alright, alright. I think we're good now. So let's Fleet Feather, we'll Shen. I don't think we need to get the Swiftwing Lancer on board. If he plays something like Azir, we can deal with him next turn. I think we're good here.
Sings its story.
Sting.
I sense an imbalance.
Maybe we should have punched in the damage. I don't care about this block, though. It's going to be a turn before we're able to interact with this thing. So I think this is safe. I think I would rather have prevent us taking damage as opposed to dealing damage to him.
A weapon heavy with history.
Porting in.
Okay.
We march.
There is no dispute.
Please? Gonna have something, but that's completely fine. Yep. We're just taking the one damage and some puff caps. We completely turned this game around.
So I go.
Run!
There's this one. Then we'll just have the what should be the killing blow next turn. Didn't take 7 from the puff caps. I think we'll be fine.
Our wills align.
He conceded. He conceded to that animation.
Everything as it should be.
Right, as it should be. What do we want to do here? The Ruthless Predator is an upgrade over Purify. I don't want to trade out Exhaust. The Screeching Dragon, I think we've picked up enough top end here. Might be a little overboard grabbing that. I do want to keep some of our early game stuff with Succession, so let's pick out the Predator. All right. Right, moving right along. Want a ship to go boom, you call Riptide Rex. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I haven't checked the lore on that, but it seems like he's not the captain of the boom ship as far as I'm aware. Down here, Draven Darius and full Noxus. Would have liked to have found another 1 or 2 drop just to stem the tide when he starts with the double Legion rearguard here.
Join the hunt, as they say.
Okay, I think I'd rather be a little bit defensive here. Like, if he's gonna, kind of pick and choose what he plays and then drop a, like a 3-1 or something, I'd rather be able to take advantage of it here.
Feel the sizzle.
All right, let's keep it up.
Empty stomach.
we'll have Shen for these attacks on the next one. So if he's going to start dropping, 5/1s, then we have a good challenger for those as well. Really thinking about saying no thank you, sir, to this, huh? You gonna play a Whirling Death or something? Death's Hand? Okay. But I would think if he didn't have a play last turn, probably not gonna have a play this turn either, as far as 2-drops go. Perfect.
It's Draven time. Two worlds, one balance. God axes need victims.
I'm a little skeptical of that ever being safe. So it's a little awkward with this hand if we want to get the first blade going, but we'd also like to Ruthless Predator. Succession works. So, okay, so we can get this barriered attack slammed in onto Draven.
None stronger, none more feared.
Still like a little suspect as far as what he's about to present to us. Whirling Death makes sense. Whirling Death to our Shen last turn, that would have made sense. Still think I want to do something like this. Give you +2 attack. Give you vulnerable.
So I go. For the fallen!
Do one of these.
No one goes hungry.
Raven isn't nearly as scary as this thing. And he's even... Oh, no Whirling Death. Okay. So is this going to be like an Ox and Guillotine or something? It seems like he clearly has to have like some amount of spells happening here. Okay. Like, just given the way his play pattern has gone.
It's a rain axe in our wake.
I have an answer to this thing. Let's play our most expensive.
Demacia shall prevail.
It's kind of scary just to let this in. I think we're just going to have to get 2 for 1 for this. I don't want to fall below 10 because of Darius. So if he's playing like 1 copy of Darius, we could kind of say whatever. If he has 2 copies, then it's like going to be a threat that we have to pay real consideration to.
I won't stand by.
A little bit more worried about that.
I have my orders.
It cuts above the
Okay. Well, I'm just going to be as greedy as I can here. If on his previous turn when he had the 7/3 and Draven, the best that he could do was Ravenous Flock, I can't imagine that he has a particularly scary card that he could be playing here. So I'm just going to try and take the War Chef and throw it into Shield Breaker. Darius is kind of awkward, but can kind of deal with him.
hand to the face.
I think we to do this, because then you'll be 5/5. We still have the good hook here. Well, if we're doing it this way, let's go ahead and give you some health.
Hardened scales. Feel the sizzle. Can't fight on an empty stomach.
Timing is everything.
Okay, good. And then we'll look to Captain Erika, the Darius next turn.
Sharpen the blade, secure the kill.
Can just take her down in combat. It's a touch awkward. Let's
I cannot recover all that is lost.
stop this one. We can kind of ignore Darius a little bit, but even if we just trade the captain for Darius and give him back the 5/1, I think that's reasonably okay for us.
Strongest become Trifarian.
I'll show you how it's done. I will not back down.
Oh, that animation took forever. I was like, what? He didn't get his unit back? Like, what kind of bug is that?
I've been waiting for this.
Gross. Is any of this worth a single combat? Using our unit anyways, just such a low value hit. Rather get rid of this thing. 8 falls to 6. Can't interact with our board. Not looking that great. We're the ones needing to be the aggro here.
Sharp blade.
We will not fail.
Okay. Because he still has 2 cards in his hand above what we have. Stun Spider, okay. Hit us for like 8, 11. I'll live with that.
For glory, you're mine.
Oh, that's not cool. That's trying to lethal us, my man. We don't approve of those kind of things. Oh, we can't emote that early, dude. Get that shit out of here. I don't think we're ever winning this game. Well, we can still win, but we're pretty far away from winning this game. But, on, that's not the place to be emoting. Okay. So is his last card Decimate? Is that the only reason? It's the only reason I can think of as to why he would go out of his way to take us to 4. Flipped. Oh.
I'll take on any.
All right, you're getting a Legion General.
No quarter. We have them now. Soldiers of Demacia.
Yeah, Jarvan animations. Okay, we can Cataclysm this down. Okay. When I challenge an enemy, give me barrier, so should be a free one. Get an additional one next turn.
For the king. To the flag. Ours is but to do
Boomed it.
and die.
It's okay.
To the flag.
How we doing here? How safe are we? Seems better than adding the Merciless Hunter. We can still block this thing with Jarvan. Like, I'm not really excited about this, but I think this is better than +2 attack. Okay. Bet you were wishing you had that you had that other spinning axe in your hand right now, huh?
To the flag.
All right, I think we're good now. There it is. Ooh, heaven is close. Good stuff.
Raise our banners. Demacia prevails.
Yeah, Jarvan, raise that banner. Alright, so what do we got now? Okay, trading out the Chronomancer for Penitent Squire seems great. Love to pick up another way to give out Challenger. Spirit's Refuge, not super important, and never trading Detain. So, yeah, it feels pretty good. Okay. On to that pre-final battle. Good, feeling good with this one. Lots of nice little barrier combos happening. I wasn't quite expecting these to go as smoothly as they have. Some of these games have been close, but the challengers are always so strong. Wow. It's like you see Soraka Karma and just think like, what have you done to get to this point? You know, you're playing some top-notch terrible cards and you've gotten this far. You've gotten to 5 wins. Like, oh, I'm kind of scared of what's behind the curtain here. What we're about to run into. We'll see. Not a bad start. Since we're on the even attacks, I was okay with hanging on to Shen, because it's just such a super powerful play if you come across a challenger on any of turns 1, 2, and 3. We should have a challenger, assuming that we can get another like 1 or 2 or 3 cost unit. So be active with the Squire. Let's dive in before he can put the gem on his gift giver, and we'll just bank this spell mana because we're gonna want to put the banner on Duelist and then get things going. I guess we don't even really have to do that. Might have to change my mind a little bit here. Yeah, I have to assume this deck is just like super slow, so maybe we want to save our challenges for a little bit later or put them on a higher value target like the Scorpion. All of his attacks are going to be good. Unless we want to just single combat the Young Witch. Or we could sharp sight in a Young Witch. I think that's okay. Would I rather single combat this? I think I would. And we can follow up with Sharp Sight if we need to. Don't think we're going to need to, but it gives us a possibility. It makes his attacks good with Gift Giver, but in this sense we should only be taking 2 instead of 4, and then we'll have attacks with the Squire next turn. I think this is fine. Also kind of tempted on this like full bank here to be able to put the banner on First Blade and then have the Sharp Sight protection for him. Okay. No. Okay. We can't just be spending all of our cards on these like low value targets. This isn't going to be like a super big gift giver deck.
We must all do our duty.
Justice by my hand.
That does anything. Maybe he just doesn't have anything active in his hand. Totes my goats. Alright. All seems fine to me.
These gems grant a wearer harmony.
Okay. I want to do it like this, so like we get our attack in, then if he wants to play a unit, that unit's going to get popped by the Roiling Sands. Sharp Sight out of this, but I don't think that's ever worth it. Predator out as well, but okay. It's not the end of the world.
not the way.
I don't think this is too greedy. Maybe we should have barriered up the first blade. Oh, okay, well, Hush was just going to KO that play at any point of the game, so kind of is what it is. Okay, I think we just want to get dudes on board here.
Fierce and fashionable.
All these, get through all these gift givers, but ideally we'll be able to Captain Eureka something. I don't want to be playing it on one of these, but gotta get something happening. Right, still formation is something. Okay. Oh.
One heart.
This might have been the lowest value Eureka of our life, but sometimes you just got to get those stats on the board.
Your prince needs you.
We're getting pretty far ahead on this board, but let's see if he's got anything going on here. Just drop this this bright steel bomb.
Our wills align.
All right, block. LOL. Well done, Shen. Well done.
Everything as it should be.
Okay, let's get ourselves ready for this final battle. So, don't want Stand United. Could be convinced to take Fleet Feather Trackers. The Unraveled Earth has been good, but we have like, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cataclysm is kind of like 4.5. So we'll say 6.5 with Merciless Hunter. Ways to deal with our opposing things. I think this is a fine pickup. Hang on to Cataclysm. Ugh, that's a tough one with a Sharp Sight for Honored Lord. I think I want to hang on to Sharp Sight. It's too much more challenging to find. I think the War Chefs for the Vanguard First Blade is an upgrade, especially now that we got up to 3 Fleet Feather Trackers. Bright Steel, don't want Green Glade duos. Hang on to single combat. I mean, we have 2 dragon single combats though. Sand Spinner is probably a reasonable pickup. I kind of dig it. We aren't too stacked on 4 drops. You see that kind of frequently with this deck because we have the 3 Shens, but I think this is a good upgrade. Trading out Detain. Only want the 1 Cataclysm and hang on to the Merciless Hunter. That should be a good skip. And the last one. Don't want the Protectors. Sand Spinner is an upgrade over the Lifeblade, and I don't want Deny. So, nice little set. Okay, looking good. Right, here we go. The final battle. Shen, first build around in 150 trials. He takes himself right to the finals. Not bad, my man. Not bad. Curious to see that Poro bot pop up. Our Discord has a bunch of chit chat about Poro bots showing up here in the final battle. I have spent some time here just like canceling out of the queue recently, but I haven't. I've just kind of given up on that to see if it shows up. But I think at this point, like I don't know, it's typically like a 60-something% win rate. We've been to have like 100-some-7 wins according to LOR Guardian. So if you call that like, I don't know, 225 final battles. I think I've played the Poro bot like 3 times, and so it's not something that comes up too frequently. But we'll see. We'll see if it shows up here since it's been getting a bit of a bit of notice amongst our community. But getting close. Might hit that 2-minute mark. Who knows? Oh, there's a player. Nope. Shit. That's LOR Guardian. I just see the screen alter, and I think it gets me wondering what's happening. There we go. Jarvan Shyvana with some Ionia in it. Okay. What are we gonna do? That's a start. We don't have an elite, which is kind of unfortunate with a hand like this. On the evens. It's kind of tough though, and so let's see if we can't hit one. I don't want to completely like give up on our curve, but Brightsteel's not an elite. That's a tough beat picking him up in your opener. I mean, I was teaching a friend to play Hearthstone back in the days, and was having to explain why keeping Cthulhu in your opening hand was not good. It's like, yes, Cthulhu is extremely powerful, but keeping this 10 cost card in your hand is not optimal. Not optimal at all. So we'll see how this plays out. I don't really want to add these no value squires to the board, and I feel like we have some time here. It's so dangerous to just add war chefs with him potentially getting value blocked. I think we can bank up to 3 mana. We're falling behind. That's for certain. This is my ultimate worry is like I don't want to. I guess something is just probably going to get like popped by an honored lord, but
We must all do our duty.
I guess we can do it like this.
Flavor and spice.
Did pick up an elite, so we'll finally be able to add these squires. If he passes back to us, that's okay.
Keep the pace. If you hurt him,
Sure, get that damage in. I don't blame you, my man.
Eat up, friend.
I ran as fast as I could. For the prince.
Okay, so let's go ahead and try and take down the honored lord. We should get some good hooks this turn. We're going to lose our war chefs, which is unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. I'm thinking of this, so we at least get to hang on to our penitent squire, assuming he doesn't have a trick. And if he has a prismatic barrier or something, this is still a pretty okay combat. Okay. So he doesn't get to add to the board here, which is the big thing. So we still have the squire, we still have the sand spinner. Sand spinner still has challenger, so it can try and hook down young witch next turn. So this is okay. Even get a good bank here. So this is such a good barrier. Such a good barrier. This is gonna be big time.
I have urgent news.
That's some back-breaking stuff right there.
Somebody help.
I don't think we want to switch to the war chefs now. We'll get our big boy dragon down and see what we can bring along.
but actions make history.
Jarvan.
Disintegrate.
We want to do something like this? Just trade off the bird to get in the 6 damage? Here we go. Kitty cat. Or would we rather do it like this? This seems a little better. Okay. We're getting real close to this Arika Brightsteel formation top end, and so I think we'll probably get hit by like a cataclysm or something here. Yeah, but I think this is still quite recoverable. I don't know if he realized his unit wasn't going to get barrier or not, but does not seem too strong. Do calculations, do some mathematics. I don't blame you, my man.
We must all do our duty.
Nothing is coming to mind as to why he's just passing like this. But I mean, no targets. Are you serious? We gotta capture fucking something? Capture a unit or landmark. Okay. Well, we're playing our big boy.
I cannot recover all that is lost, but I will try.
That just happened.
Feel the sizzle!
Disintegrate.
Lethal. We'd rather do this. 'Cause that is lethal. That's too risky. If he has like a single combat or a homecoming or something, it's pretty horrifically bad for us.
No one goes hungry!
I don't think we're at like any risk of losing this game anytime soon, and so let's just play it safe. Okay. All right, so he's just giving up. All right, well, I'm gonna drop this Brightsteel formation. Okay. See, he had a lot going on. I think that's pretty good that we didn't just go for it. Boom.
Our will's alive.
All right, our bro's about to be big. It's like neg 1,000. get in there for a neg 1,000. I think that's to be pretty good. Got it, boss. There we have it. So yeah, nice little 7 winner from Shen. Nice. Glad to see you putting in the work and getting us to our big victories. So let's take a moment. We'll get this pulled up here real quick. Not too much going on here that's special, but I thought that was a nice interaction that we got to piece together with Jarvan, having some of those Jarvan combos along with some of these Shen and barrier combos, and so that was neat. We at least got to do that like once, I think, right? We had some flipped Jarvan shenanigans going, and so nonetheless, this style of deck, we typically see this as being something that you do with Fiora, right? Because with Shen, there's just not enough barriers to get him flipped and doing the barrier thing, and so he tends to always just play a supporting role as opposed to being a full build around. Could change at some point in time, you know, if there's ever enough challengers, or if there's more. We didn't even see any in this trial, but the 1 cost unit that gets a bonus to attack if it gets a barrier, there's more of that kind of thing that shows up. Or if they really start to push the barrier theme, then I could really see Shen becoming more of a powerhouse. He doesn't feel like he's going to be more like a full build around, but you might find some places to where he's strong. And then in decks like this, to where you don't really want to be playing 3 Jarvans, then you have much more of an excuse to add multiple copies of Shen to your deck. But unfortunately, like, the thing we typically find ourselves doing is we're going to be like, okay, we're in this like Shurima Elites Challenger kind of deck. We have 1 Shen, 1 Jarvan, and then we're just going to try and take Renekton's. Or depending on the amount of elites that we picked up, we might just try to switch into Garen. It's tough for us to be like, shit, yeah, I want more Shens. And so, there's some cards that help. Like Merciless Hunter, like, certainly helps being a just a top-notch 3-drop, give something vulnerable, and then fitting right in the curve to where you can Merciless Predator into Shen. Super strong stuff that you can be pulling off there, but again, I don't think Shen is that incredibly powerful. But I am happy with how we handled this deck here. And so, if you're kind of familiar with like Fiora Shen and and constructed with how strong that was, it's pretty strong here. In that sense, you're always trying to draft towards Fiora, but in Expedition we could find the means again. I think this style of deck that we pieced together here is how you're actually going to try and draft 3 copies of Shen. I think we got clever with like our pick 2 Shen. This wasn't a super good one with the single combat Key Guardian. We probably should have taken like a Jarvan or a Renekton there, but this Shen though, this one down here at pick 19 with the Bright Steel and the Swiftwing, that was the real deal kind of thing. So nonetheless, if you do look to draft around Shen or draft something like this on your own, the big things are finding the challengers or finding the vulnerables. And so if you're going to be forcing your units into combat and giving them barrier, that's just the best way that you can take advantage of the barriers. And so that is, if the question is, how do I take advantage of barriers? Because that is the most valid of questions. If you're playing with Shen, then the answer is challengers or vulnerables. And so, nice little pairing here. I was pretty happy with how this pieced together. It wasn't just like the bonkers, like 5 Honored Lord, 4 Umbrella Maker decks, but this would have been nice if we had Honored Lords. We didn't actually, we saw one like towards the end, I think, but we didn't see any throughout like the trial. But that would have been like the real deal as far as like trying to get this Shen going, as if we would have been able to get like multiples of Honored Lord and then get a couple tick ups, and then it's like it's not that unreasonable to think you can level off your Shen. And so the Honored Lord would have been, I think, like the premier build around, and then I think we saw like one Bright Steel Protector, the 3/2 for 2 mana that gives a unit barrier. That's kind of the other common way to really get your Shen going. Also plays fantastically with Fleet Feather Trackers, but I think we maybe saw one and we passed on it for something else as well. So yeah, in general, I don't like to just push people towards drafting Shen because I do think that he's this Shen build around isn't a real deck. This is more so just kind of like playing Jarvan Elites, where we just put all the Shens in our deck instead of other champions. But he worked out nicely here. And so if you are drafting it on your own, again, be mindful of your curve. You're going to want to pick up some Challenger Dragons. This is the kind of premier way to handle the late game. And then, you're basically going to try and pick up everything that you can between Fleet Feather Tracker, Exhaust, Ruthless Predator, Rockhopper. We're looking for the Merciless Hunters. Just all of these cards that either give Vulnerable or give Challenger. That's what you're really going to be looking for here. But yeah, nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. There may be a reward or two here to actually click on. I know we finished off the event pass, and so if you're just here for the rewards, things are going to be slowing down for you until about 3 weeks from now, when the new set will come out, and there'll be some more rewards to click on. But for now, that is it. All right, it looks like we got some kind of Lab of Legends victory, and we're getting a common prismatic. Deal. What are we adding? All right, Usecast Salesman. You're the unit that puts units on the board. That's all a brother can ask for. And so, yeah, that is going to do it for us today. I hope you learned how to raise your shields a little bit better. You learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.